When you meet a traditional man, you want to get to know him better to make sure that he's the right man for you. But what type of questions should you ask before or during your first date? Hi ladies, this is Tree from treeoflogic.com and welcome to my channel, Just Tree 411. Some of my female subscribers are meeting right-wing men and I couldn't be happier. However, a few were not sure how to vet them. So they asked me what type of questions should they ask these men during the early stages of the dating process. So I created a list of questions and gave it to them to ask on their first date. The questions that I gave these young ladies were so good and so effective that I decided to make a video about it. As traditional women, we must make sure that the men we are either dating or being courted by meet our standards. Remember ladies, best friends first, lovers second. So in order to make sure that he meets the standards for not only being your best friend, but also a potential husband, we must ask questions. Ladies, I don't care how handsome he is. I don't care how much money he has. If he doesn't meet your standards after asking these questions, simply let him go. Also, be very careful in telling him why you two are not compatible. Some men are pretty desperate and will use this information to be disingenuous so that you can give him a second chance. For example, if smoking is a deal breaker for you and he tells you that he smokes on occasions, this is not going to work. And don't fall for the
I just need someone in my life to motivate me to quit smoking.
If he doesn't have the discipline to do this on his own, you can't help him either. Now, some women will have this fixer complex and feel the need to help him stop smoking. Ladies, this never works. Smoking is a serious addiction and some men, along with women, can't shake it off. Not to mention that this is not your problem. This is why you must have a list of deal breakers and stick to it. So without further ado, here are the 10 questions you need to ask early in dating. Question 1, what are you looking for? Ladies, always be the one to ask this question first and never let him deflect this back to you. You know your standards and you know your deal breakers. So when he gives his answers, listen for anything and everything that is aligned with what you're looking for. For example, if you're looking for a serious relationship that will lead to marriage and children, see if he will say the same thing or something similar. So if he says,
I'm tired of the single life and I'm ready to settle down and get married. Plus, it's time to give my mother some grandchildren.
Now he's a keeper. You both want marriage and you both want kids. But what if he says this instead?
I'm open for anything. Just seeing where this goes. If it's casual, I'm down. If we're serious, well, that's cool too. I'm okay with whatever develops.
Then he's not a keeper. Men who say things like this are just simply playing it safe. They don't know the right answer, so they straddle the fence. You need a man who knows exactly what he wants, and his wants should be the same as yours. Playing it safe is the same as playing games, and aren't you a little bit tired of that? So ask him what he's looking for and compare it with what you're looking for in order to see if you two are a good match. Question 2, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Ladies, when you ask this question, I want you to ask it in 2 parts. Where does he see himself personally in 5 years? And where does he see himself professionally in 5 years? Now, based upon his answer to your first question, he says that he personally sees himself married with 1 child and living in Florida. Professionally, he sees himself advancing to an executive position at his current job or hiring 2 new employees for his current business. What you want to hear is growth in addition to other information. So let's say currently you're both living in Oklahoma, but you just learned that he wants to live in Florida. Is moving to Florida a deal breaker for you or something you're open to? If this is not a deal breaker for you, then know ahead of time that if this relationship gets serious, you will be moving with him to Florida in the future. Either way, this is where he sees himself. And as long as this is in line with what you want, you should see yourself there with him. Question 3, do you want kids? Yes, ladies, you have to ask this question early. Whether you want kids or not, this is a deal breaker for many traditional couples. Please don't waste your time on someone who doesn't want what you want, because they're not likely to change their mind in the future. As many of you know, due to my upbringing, I never wanted kids. I would always volunteer this information, whether my date asked me or not. However, there were times when men would gloss over this and try to change my mind. They would say something stupid like, "That's because you haven't had a good man yet." Or, "When you fall in love with me, you'll be eager to have all my babies." Needless to say, those men never got a second date. Having children is something you cannot take lightly. So if he doesn't want kids and you want kids, you need to know this as soon as possible, because finding out now will prevent arguments and heartaches in the future. Question number 4, when was your last serious relationship? There's a follow-up to this question, which is, how long was it or how long did it last? This is an important question to ask because you want to see if he has commitment issues or if he's a serial dater. A serial dater is a man who dates a lot of women in a short period of time because he loves the feeling of the chase. It's almost like a type of high for these people, because once he has you, he'll lose interest and move on to the next woman. Serial daters never settle down, so don't bother accepting these type of men into your life. Finally, you want to know if he's been married and how many times. Oh, and make sure he's legally divorced and not separated. When men and women go through a divorce, there will always be baggage. I'm not saying that this is a bad thing, especially if they've healed from this due to time, counseling, or both. My point is that you want to be aware of this in order to help strengthen your relationship so you can grow as a couple. With both of you working together as a team to overcome these triggers, the chances of him being your best friend turned husband is extremely likely. Question number 5, what is your best quality and what is your worst? Ladies, be ready to answer the same question shortly after he gives his answer. It's safe to say that at this point, he is going to ask you similar questions that you're asking him. And this is only fair. So take this time to reflect to yourself and answer these questions honestly. That's the purpose of this question, to see if he, as well as you, can admit your flaws. We are all eager to share our best qualities, but we are quick to hide our worst qualities. Look, no one is perfect, so please be honest about your worst qualities. However, I want you to keep in mind that if you have a man that's very egotistical, he's going to have a hard time critiquing himself. This is a huge red flag, because his chances of being held accountable for his actions are slim to none. But if he is forthcoming about his flaws, that means he's open and honest about himself. Humility plus honesty are some of the best qualities you can find in any man. And if you find these qualities in the man you're dating, then girl, he is a keeper. Question number 6. Are you religious? In my opinion, this should be a deal breaker, especially if you want to raise children together. As stated in 2 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 14, do not be unequally yoked with unbelievers. For what partnership has righteousness with lawlessness? Or what fellowship has light with darkness? Religion often influences your morals and values in life and shows who you are as a person. If you're an atheist and he's a Christian, one of you are going against your faith while the other is staying true to themselves. This is not a good foundation for a traditional relationship, especially if you or he is passionate about your faith. It just won't work out in the end. The same goes for different religions. If he's Muslim and you're Wiccan, the conflict is inevitable. However, if both of you share the same faith, for example, Christianity, you can build on this by going to church services together or attend Bible study together. Sharing the same religion, or lack thereof, will make you both compatible, which will result in an easier and stronger relationship in the future. Question number 7. Where do you align politically? Yes, you always hear that the two things that you never bring up during a date are religion and politics. But this is simply not true. Your values, philosophies, and morals are determined by your religion and politics. For most right-wingers, dating a liberal is simply out of the question. Just like religion, politics is something that you should both have in common. Remember how some liberals went completely insane when Trump won the presidential election in 2016? Liberals suffering from TDS not only cut off their friends who voted for Trump, but they also divorced their spouses. Not to mention that liberals and libertarians tend to be more modern. And this is in direct contrast to conservatives who are traditionalists. But you may be hesitant to ask about their politics, but trust me, it's best to rip that Band-Aid off now than later. Question number 8. Were you raised by both parents? This question is a mixed bag. It could be a deal breaker for some or relatable for others. Having bad parents is not your fault. However, knowing if there is any type of trauma resulting from his childhood is very important. And the same goes for you too. In this day and age, it's very rare to find someone with a clean slate. However, if you are aware of his wounds and he's aware of yours, then this is an opportunity for you both to heal together through counseling. Nevertheless, knowing if he has been raised by both parents or not will give you an idea about his foundations. Question number 9. Do you have any pets? Ladies, never underestimate a man's love for his pet, especially if it's a dog. If you hate dogs and the guy you're dating has 2 of them, don't give him an ultimatum to make him choose between you and them, because you'll lose every time. Knowing if your date has pets is very important, especially if you too own pets or if you are allergic to certain animals. If you own cats and he hates cats, then that needs to be discussed as soon as possible. And the same goes for dogs. So let's say, for instance, your date, he likes his dogs to sleep in his bed, but you want them to sleep, eat, and live outside. This could be a deal breaker. So if your pets are a non-negotiable part of your life or his, then this question must be asked on the first date. And last but not least, question 10. What are your deal breakers? On your first date, it's best to end your series of questions with this one. And you want to do this just in case you miss anything. Now, ladies, allow your date to express his deal breakers without any criticism and without any judgment. Even if it's something trivial as weight gain, cutting your long hair, or consuming alcoholic beverages. If you meet his deal breakers now, or you know you'll violate them in the future, be honest with him and let him know as soon as possible. And you must respect his decision if he wished to end a relationship or stop dating you. I know, rejection is hard, but it's a part of life. Be comfortable and confident with who you are, knowing that even though he didn't work out, the next guy will probably be a perfect match. And there you have it, ladies. 10 questions to ask during your first date. So what did you think? Do you agree, disagree, or was there something that I missed? Either way, let me know what you think by leaving a comment below this video. Be sure to leave a like, and if you are a female, please, by all means, subscribe to my channel. And don't forget to share this video with other women. I'm Tree from Just Tree 411. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Later, taters!